Hey, and welcome to the show. My guest today is Corinna Nolan. Corinna just completed the North Sea Channel, which is swimming from Northern Ireland to Scotland, unassisted, 16 and a half hours, 41 kilometers totally swam. It was an amazing story, an amazing challenge, and it started so many years before her attempting the event. But not only that, Corinna is a really inspiring person, and I've known Corinna for over 15 years. We've worked together. I've helped coach her, she's helped coach me, and the one thing that you can take away from this, that I took away from this, is that starting any endeavor, any challenge starts very small, and you're not looking for the big wins, you're looking for the little consistent wins. And in this episode, she will share with you how she's gone from not being able to run a minute to do an Ironman, and more importantly, the main topic is that she swam for 16 and a half hours straight, and I think number 7 out of Irish women to ever achieve that task. So without further ado, here's the show. The big thing I say is that you gotta win the morning.
Heavy requirements on them to lift heavy weights.
The conversation has to be changed.
What you truly value.
No right way and there's no wrong way.
Become the source of struggle.
I kept finding myself in tears from the physical pain.
You're listening to the Stephen Kinsler podcast. Welcome to the show. So you, for people that don't know, you're on the show. Not only that you did the North Channel swim, but you've done a fair few things in your life actually. But you're a swimmer,
yeah,
by trade. So
hobby, yeah.
Hobby. It's a very, very, very good hobby. When did you get into swimming? Like, what was it? Was it just normal, like kind of kid went to swim lessons, and then it just came about, or?
Yeah, like mum and dad, they probably kill me for saying this, but they couldn't swim, so obviously they wanted their kids to learn how to swim. So
Yeah.
I got sent when I was 4 into Health Pool and Bray.
Okay, yeah.
And the swim coordinator there thought you weren't a swimmer until you could swim 64 lengths of the pool without touching the bottom. So
Really?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I would have never made that, by the way.
Yeah. So as a teacher as well, like when I would have seen kids being pulled out at level 4, level 5, and I kind of go, you're not really fully there yet. I would like to have seen kids going on to doing lengths.
Yeah.
And be consistent to be able to swim a kilometre or whatever, just to be able to say, well, okay, you can do that. But yeah, John Watchorn was his name. He said, yeah, you weren't a swimmer until you could do 64 lengths. So each term you would do, I think it was like 10 lengths, then you're doing your 24, then you're doing your 48, 32, and then you reach to, your 64.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
that was a good goal. And then I went on to Irish water safety, so I did that from whenever I finished swimming at 12 up until I was like 16. Then I went on a part-time job as a lifeguard, and that
Where
kind
was
of.
that?
So I first started in Kiltiernan Country Club,
Okay, yeah.
and then moved on to Glenview and stuff, and then progressed on further. But yeah, each time it was always a part-time job.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in school, I went and asked, we were to do a week work experience, and I said, well, can I go and do my swim teachers for that week work experience? So
Yeah.
I was given that permission. So yeah, that's where my swimming started,
Yeah.
and I just loved it. And it's always been part of
Yeah.
my daily job and my life. So yeah.
Well, so I've known you since I think 2008, it would have been
Yeah,
2008, and we started working together, and you were the swim coordinator. And I didn't know anything about swimming. And part of the requirements of the job was that I had to learn how to swim.
Yeah.
And then so we worked together. I was there for 4 years, and you helped me become a coach in swimming. I was never a good swimmer, as much as I tried, like a rock. I just kept sinking. I was I'd say the only coach or swimming coach there that couldn't swim properly.
Yeah.
I could save a life, which is more important than actually swimming up and down.
Yeah.
I was very bad at it. And then obviously I left, and then you went on to work somewhere else. But when it comes to swimming, you recently just swam the North Channel,
Yeah.
which was 16 and a half hours.
Yeah, so it ended up being 16 and a half hours in the water. It's a 34.5 kilometer direct, but with currents and tides, you end up doing a little bit more. So I think my total was 41k in the 16 and a half hours. So I started at 6 a.m. in the morning, and then whatever 16 and a half hours is until that evening. But yeah, it was, standing on the edge of the boat, taking a deep breath to jump off, because you have to swim to land first.
Yeah.
To obviously have clear water behind you, no running water behind you. And then you just start swimming towards the boat and it pulls out with you, and you just keep swimming until you hit Scotland.
Okay. Till you hit Scotland, yeah. Okay, so
Yeah,
from
yeah.
Ireland to Scotland.
Yeah.
So I remember I think it was 2 years ago when you said it to me about you're thinking to do something you didn't want to tell anyone.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So, but you had thoughts of this before then?
And so it comes back to, I suppose, I went and joined a tri club years ago.
Yeah.
And you would have done a couple of triathlons. And I remember the first triathlon was in a Thai, and all I had seen, was 1500 swim, 40k bike, and it's like as if I got distracted because I'm like, oh yeah, sure, that's grand.
Yeah.
And then I'm like on the run course going, I have to do 10k. What? Running is my hate.
Yes.
So I did that, and then of course you've seen all your teammates, progressing, stepping up to this Ironman. And I thought, can I, do that? And I just went, well, bite the bullet and just go with it. And there was a good crew going. So again, I took on another challenge that, probably terrified me. The year before, now in fairness, I did a 6 kilometer swim to see could I do it. I did a 100k bike to see could I do it. And I also took on the Dublin Marathon. They're 3 separate individual, but they were long.
Yeah.
And the following year, then I went to the Ironman 2015 in Austria. And then I did another one in 2017 in Barcelona. And then I kind of was like, what's next? And then it was the Ice Mile.
Yeah.
And then I found out about there's an Ice Mile Iron Woman title.
Yeah.
That Iron Man and ice swimming don't really cross because, a lot of athletes are quite slim and stuff, so they can't stick the cold. I don't have that problem. I can kind of manage the cold. So then I challenged myself to do an ice kilometer.
Yeah.
Then I went Ice Mile up in Lockdown. And then 2 weeks later, I thought, I'll try that again. I seem to have a habit of doing things twice. I'll try it again in Armagh. So I was up and down to Armagh. So that's a man-made pool. Ian Conroy is up there. So that then led to cold water swimming for 2 or 3 years, and then consistently swimming all the time. So that's I think after we had done a 6k swim in Sligo.
Yes. And
I remember sitting down chatting to somebody in the pub that night, and she had done the English Channel, and it was all about this, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll do that one day. And then she said to me, why did you go and sit in Dover for so long when you could just go up the north? And of course I was like, I said, I thought at the time you had to do the English to prove that you could do it and that kind of thing. So that was always in my mind. It's like, oh yeah, so much easier, logistically, as in, it's only up the road essentially. So then I made a few inquiries because the same company that run the North Channel, Infinity, did a lot of ice swimming and were involved in that.
Yes.
So I got in touch with them. Porrick had sent me a message going, he said, yeah, you could do it. And I was like, then I asked another few people, and some people were like, oh, I wouldn't go near that. It's too hard, it's too tough, it's full of jellyfish, it's this, it's that. So then you kind of suppress it and you go, maybe I'm not able for it. And then it always raises the head again. And it just kind of was there niggling, do it. So then I booked my slot, which I think is, you have to put down a deposit of 1,200 quid.
Oh, really?
Not a
whim.
It's not like a €50. Sure, if I don't do it, it's only €50. It's a lot of money, like. That was just your deposit. So when I put that down, I really had to kind of go, I really want to be doing this. And that's when I I asked Lisa would she coach me. So Lisa and I do some coaching for Wicklow Tri.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, the first thing is, she says, I want to be on the boat. And I was like, well, yeah, okay. And then after that, then we put a plan together.
Yeah.
So I'd said to her, I don't want anyone to know. I said, I just want to train away and just keep it my business. And,
Yeah.
and then I did tell a few people that,
Yeah.
like yourself and stuff, because you're into the endurance stuff as well. So
Yeah.
you kind of understand.
Well, I'm into stupid challenges. I wouldn't say I'm into endurance stuff. Anything that sounds stupid, I'll do. But even at that, like when you started doing, let's say, the 2 years to that, and I know because we were in contact because you're teaching me to stop being a rock, and I remember you telling me like sometimes you felt like you weren't ready or it wasn't going to
Yeah.
happen. So
Yeah.
the training, I know you had to do like countless and countless kilometers to build. 'Cause you had to build a massive
Yeah.
endurance in the pool and in cold water. But for um, like, how was the training over that 2 years? Like the kind of just
Part of it.
the commitment to it, like because it's like
Yeah.
how much you have to be in the water.
Yeah. So when I asked Lisa first, I think it was near the end of the year, and she said, "Yeah, well, okay." She said, "Just swim away for the moment and build up the kilometers and stuff." So I think I had to try and reach as a 20K a week and stuff, and then the real tough stuff got going, say in January.
Yeah,
So yeah, it was consistent, and I do remember, I Habits Make a Champion is a book
yeah,
I've had, and then another one is Champion Minded, and reading through it and picking out different quotes. And one of them was, "It's a privilege to be coached." So I was taking that on board, going, it's not only my time, it's Lisa's time that she's given up to
yeah,
coach me, and I didn't want to waste that. So yeah, like when the alarm's going off at 5:30, 5:45, and you have to drag yourself out on a winter's morning in December and January and February, when they're the hardest, they're the most gloomiest
yeah,
days, you're kind of, well, why am I doing this? I could just stay here in bed. But I didn't want to let her down. I didn't want to, again, waste her time. So it was a motivation. No, get up and get it done. So at the beginning, it was all kind of mornings and morning sessions. And then when it became easier to get in the sea, from say April and stuff, yeah, I was in the sea. So it was all kind of more. And then once it built again, then it was like the double sessions
yeah,
and the longer sessions. So you went from like 3Ks to 4.5Ks. And then you might have had to do 4K in the morning, 4K in the evening. So yeah, and it is a dread to go back into a pool in the evening when everybody's about.
yeah,
Not many people get up at that time in the morning to go swimming. So I was lucky in that sense that the pool wasn't massively busy. And I could get my workout done.
yeah.
I did dread going in on a Sunday afternoon or Sunday morning.
There's too many people there, kind of thing.
Yeah, like, and it's family day, and I get that. But when you're trying to get a set done and there's 3 or 4 kids crossing the lane or somebody swimming the wrong direction, and you get frustrated. But then that's another thing you have to work out. You got to control what you can control.
Yeah, control the controllables.
Yes, yeah. So then I made it my business to get in for 9 o'clock and be gone by 10:30.
Yeah.
So families were maybe only rising at 9:30, thinking about going swimming. So you were literally trying to juggle other people's routines.
They're doing their routines against you.
Make it work for you.
Yeah. And then when, like, obviously you did all that swimming, what was the kind of, before the event itself, what was the kind of longest swims that you had to kind of work up to? Was there kind of like I have to achieve, like, no, if you run a marathon, you have to run like an 18 miles.
Yeah. So 6 hours would have been, you had to do a qualifier for 6 hours. And I do remember before COVID, and again, it would have been, and I did the training, and I went and did a 10K in lockdown, and I didn't put, I say, let's say I barely trained for it, because, and I did it for that. Can I mentally get through this? Can I physically get through this with little or no training? Can I be in my own head for 10K?
Yeah.
And I was the last out of the water, and no problem saying that. And, everybody was like, well done, kind of get out, sure done. But I kind of came away from that going, if I can do 10K with very little training and all that kind of stuff, maybe I can push forward.
Yeah.
So I think actually asked that you do a 6-hour qualifier.
Okay.
So they have this thing called Hit the Wall. So there's different challenges throughout the 4 days. And a group of friends were coming up to do Battle of Carlingford Lough, which is 7.5K. And we didn't sign up for that. And at this stage, I hadn't told most of my friends that I was doing the channel. or had they even guessed? I don't know, some of them probably had. So I do remember doing the 7.5K, having an amazing swim, everything went right. And then they were all going home and they were kind of like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm just going to do a 6 hour swim tomorrow. And they're like, what? And I was like, yeah, I'll practice next week.
Yeah.
And yet having all the support from them,
Yeah.
you know, the hugs and, you know, mind yourself kind of thing. And then set off that morning to do a 6 hour swim. And I was fretting because I was like, I have food and nutrition in that bag. I don't know what really works. I had been using some of the stuff, but I just didn't know how it all fit together.
When it comes to food, how was like what would you look, obviously you can't like just stop for meals. So
Yeah, so
how did you
you're
consume calories? Because obviously water you're burning.
yeah, you're using the carb high five, you're using
Yeah.
gels, and whatever you can kind of take, you know, tolerate as
Yeah.
well. Like when people are running or on a bike, they're upright.
Yeah.
When you're swimming, you're flat. So you kind of have to start figuring out what's
It's
best
gonna
suitable
work
in
for
your
you
stomach.
and what's not
So
gonna.
bananas didn't really work for me.
Yeah.
I could get it in and swallow, and 2 minutes later, then I'm like, oh, it's coming back up, or you
Yeah.
know. So you were definitely trying stuff, and even I had gotten used to having porridge, say before swimming in the
Yeah.
mornings. Um, but yeah, so that 6 hour was a complete test of everything. And I liked the way when they sent us off in different groups, you had to swim to certain boys and stuff, and
Yeah.
they just said, just keep looking up for the next boy, the next boy. And without you realizing, they kept moving these boys.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Sneaky.
yeah. And you're kind of going, why are they moving it now? So 1 minute you're maybe going with the current, next minute you're going against the current, then you've got a slap of a chop, and you're like, geez, I wish they'd moved that boy down there or something. So it was great. And at different times I did kind of stop and go, where am I in this
Yeah.
locker? You know, like,
I think a lot of stuff when it comes to your own mindset and what you're capable of.
mm,
So, like, I know that we do it in the gym, and we will get people to do things, and we'll tell them time's different, or they have to go this long, and then 15 or 5 minutes past the time because we knew we could do more, or we added a little bit more weight, and we didn't tell them because we knew it was possible. So, them moving the boys, and you're not knowing that it's been moved properly,
yeah.
like you're just like getting to the task.
Mm,
And then you're like, next thing you know, oh, well, I actually completed my task.
yeah.
I think that's a really good part of, because if you just you're too likely to want to stop yourself.
Mm,
There's that inner demon that
mm,
you're always battling. I know it battles me a
yeah.
lot when I do challenges. But so obviously you did your 6 hour. That was the qualifier, and once you've done that, then you're allowed to register. Or you're allowed to.
You have to, it's just to prove a point that you can stay in the water for the 6 hours.
Yeah.
I know the English channel, I think you have to do an 8 hour one.
Okay.
So I suppose it's just different for each one.
Yeah.
Infinity asked, oh, and also that the water was at 13 degrees or lower if
Yeah.
possible. So it was 13.4 that day. So I came out and I wasn't too cold.
Was that a wetsuit or no?
No,
No wetsuit. Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
so you're going with what you're going to be in the North
Yeah.
Channel. And my hands were a little bit withery, and my tongue, because of the salt, was very much, it just felt odd.
Yeah.
And I actually didn't get that on the North Channel.
Okay.
I don't know, there must be less salt or whatever.
Mm.
But yeah, you did that, and I was on a bit of a high then because I was like, I've swam for 6 hours, I've covered this much distance, and it was great. It was just a relief I
Yeah.
can do that, and that was back in May. So, and the body felt good as well. There was no major issues. And Lisa actually came up that weekend because there was also another swimmer, Doug, who was doing the same thing.
Okay, cool.
So she came up and she was delighted to see that we were, all good. And she did say to me, it's just your 6 hours. Like, we still have a lot of work to do. And I said, I'm fully aware. I've still a long road to go.
That's a good coach, isn't it?
Yeah.
You just did your 6 hours with a lot more in the tank.
Yeah, exactly. But, and that's why I think Lisa and I worked really well too, as well, because yes, I didn't want to let her down, but she's also ready to push on to the next part. It's not like, oh yeah, you've done that, happy days, let's go and do 2 days rest. It was like, no,
you still got something to achieve.
Yeah, you still got to work more. And then I used to swim on a Thursday night with our Friday club. So I was being pushed there against people that, you know,
Yeah.
I would have known for quite a long time. And I suppose for myself, having moved a lane and then gone from the back of the lane to like inching forward to not every week, but like leading the lane,
Yeah.
that was really motivating to me.
'Cause you're
And
just
I
getting
also
pushed
felt
up
under
after.
pressure then
Yeah.
because, you know, there's people chasing you down, so you have to push.
Yeah.
And I would have swam a little bit before that session to obviously, you know, keep up the distance and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was full on.
Cool. Like it's yeah. Like how many days a
So
week would you be in the
so
water?
Monday would have been say a 3.5. Okay, in the morning you would have had Monday evening off.
Yeah.
Tuesday would have been a double set. You swam in the morning, swam in the evening, probably 4.5, 4K in the evening. Wednesday would have been either a pool or the sea, depending on when Mondays and Wednesdays they could have done sea. Obviously the closer it got to the north,
More sea, yeah.
I got more training in the sea. But yeah, it would have been Monday morning, Tuesday AM and PM, Wednesday morning, then Thursday AM&P, Friday would have been off, and then long sets Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah. So
So
it's pretty much every day.
yeah,
Amazing.
6 days a week. Yeah,
6 days. That's
twice,
yeah.
yeah.
And
So
I
the
suppose
volume would have been 20, and then it did hit 35. I think
Yeah.
one week I hit 42.
okay, yeah.
So yeah, you're kind of going, that's a full marathon itself, as in run wise.
And then you're prepped, you're ready to rock and roll. And you get to call. You're standing up there, and you're about to start this epic adventure. What was the nerves like?
So my window was originally to be the 22nd to
You
the
got called
26th.
early, didn't you? Yeah, you got called early.
So you only had a couple of days. It's like every second week for the tides, a good tide. So the 22nd to 26th was my original window, and I got a call on the Monday. I think it was this. I think so. It was the anyway. I just remember it was Monday. Jacqueline sent me a voicemail going, "I just wondering is it possible for you to come up on this window because it's weather window conditions and stuff." And I was like, "Huh? That's
Yeah.
3 weeks early? What?" So trying to panic to work out logistics because
Yeah.
Lisa was also crewing for another swimmer, Doug. And I kind of kept asking the question, well, what happens if, both are
Yeah.
swimming on the same day? And I was just told, stop thinking about that. You're just going. So, yeah. So that was asked on the Monday. Had to go in on Tuesday to speak to my bosses.
Yeah, because you have to get time off work.
Yeah, and they were so supportive. And literally, I was like, can I? And they're like, of course you can. Just swap out your holidays kind of thing. And it wasn't even a question, what if?
Yeah.
It was just go, like,
Get
just.
a dome move, we'll figure it out.
And and I'm still very grateful for that.
That's
the
brilliant.
understanding.
It's good to have people like that.
Yeah,
That's possible
amazing.
like that, yeah.
Yeah. So then I was also, because then on the Tuesday I got a text to say, yes, you'll be swimming on the Saturday. So you get a text every day up until the lead to make sure, is it a girl swimming, is it not? So still not 100%.
Weather or something happens, yeah.
So then Wednesday I got a text said no swim. And I was like, what? So it literally was a roller coaster of emotions that week.
And just adrenaline alone would be just like highs and lows and being burnt out. So that's using up energy before the event. Because obviously, if you're going training, you're just going training.
Yeah.
Not that you're just going training, but you know the routine, you know what you're doing. But then this build up in Cold Barely, the nerves are firing. So you're again, you had no swim. Obviously, you went forward to you got the swim, and then you're there.
So then, the day before I got a text then to say, no, you're definitely swimming Saturday. And it was like, oh, crap. I have to go and prepare all my stuff, So I had my dad on the boat and Lisa was on the boat. They're my crew. So I sat Dad down and I was like, so this is what's in this and this is what's in this and this is where everything goes.
Your nutrition
how the gels work, how fill the bottle to this much. And both my parents, again, were quite supportive, and Mom was there as well. But I really don't think they understood.
You were taken on?
Yeah. Until they were in the thick of it, going hot. So then Saturday morning, the alarm goes off at 4 a.m. and I'm like, it's game day, And you have to get up and get your stuff, all the fasts done. You have to bring everything down, and then you're still kind of going, have I forgotten everything? And like everybody around me was so helpful as well. Like the car was packed, and I was being carted down to the marina, and everything was put on the boat for me, and I was like, okay, right, yeah. Said goodbye to Mum, took a few photos, and she had to stay on shore.
Yeah.
Dad and Lisa were on the boat. The pilot, the driver of the boat, was on it, and the observer were on the boat. So they were like, "Oh, look, it'll take us half an hour, 20 minutes to get to the actual point.
Starting point.
We did 10 minutes heads up, so you can get changed. Now I had my tags on and all, but like there's Vaseline that you have to put on to save chafing and stuff. So yeah, I'm 10 minutes before that, and I think I put nearly 3 quarters of the tub on myself just out of nerves. Just putting it on everywhere, going, yeah, it's grand, it's done.
Yeah.
All in my ears as I always do, put a hat on, goggles on, and then gave Dad a hug to say, see you later. And then stood up on the side of the boat. Remember taking in a deep breath and going, here we go.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah.
And then swimming from the boat to the shore and praying to God, because it's obviously still dark, that I don't hit a jellyfish in the dark. And then you get to shore, they have 2 people there with torches that you can safely get up.
Yeah.
The whistle goes from your boat and you just start swimming. You're swimming back towards the boat. And then you're just swimming till you, as I say, hit the front end.
So when you got into it, I know I'd seen some of the videos at the beginning. When I only seen videos from the started off in the day. Obviously, the sun was rising.
Yeah.
But obviously, starting like say the first kind of 5 to 10K, like how was that? Did you kind of have those kind of like, oh my god, what am I doing moments? Was it just kind of like, oh, I'm just trying to find my groove?
Yeah. So I don't think we really, myself and Lisa, had a discussion, but I never was told what time of day it was. What kilometers I'd covered.
Well, you knew what time of day when you had a specific lunchtime, because she posted about that. She knows it's 1:00 because she had her peanut butter and Nutella sandwich for everyone it was.
So I didn't really know, and I suppose I didn't ask either. Because I knew Lisa wasn't going to tell me anyway. So I was like, what's the point in tormenting myself? But I was kind of tormenting myself in the water going, what? But you're not allowed to wear your watch.
Well, that's what I was about to ask, because obviously that
you can't wear you can't wear your garment.
That could be a kind of a help or
hindrance, So what I was trying to do was I was watching the sun come up. And I was trying to figure out, like old times, where the sun was in the sky. I was like, oh, maybe it's 11:00, maybe it's 12:00. And I think it was about hour 3. And I just was like, I'm not settling here. I just couldn't get into a rhythm. I felt unsettled. And I think when I said it to Lisa, and she said, yeah, I could see you were a bit all over the place. And I suppose then it was like, put yourself together. You've trained for so long to do this. Now you're in it. So just keep going forward. It was like having a conversation with yourself the whole time. Switch on, switch off. So then I did settle in, and I had a good stroke rate then to keep going. And then, the wind picked up a little bit. It got a bit choppy, and everything kind of was thrown at me. Those lovely, silky, smooth waters at the beginning. Yeah,
because we've seen that. And then you went through a storm.
Yeah, then we had a thunderstorm coming through, and like torrential rain that there was today. And there was definitely a swell. And all I kept thinking, because we did hit mist as well, and I have heard other swimmers cancel because they can't see
anything. So
it was like, it better clear, because I don't want to have to get out. Then when the heavy rain and the thunderstorm started, I was like, there better not be lightning, because I really don't want to get out. I don't want to have to be pulled out and end this.
Mother Nature stops it rather than you you physically.
Again, that's something that I couldn't control, so it would have been out of my hands.
And when you're in the water, what was like kind of, I suppose, what was your worst moment of that? Because like you're in the water for 16.5 hours. Like where your brain was like, what am I doing?
It came to a point when it did get dark, and I did spot land earlier on, and I was swimming and swimming. I wasn't getting anywhere. But when it got dark, the darkness didn't freak me out. It wasn't that. It was, there was a feed, and I started to shake. And from doing the ice swimming, I know then this isn't
that could
good.
be a spiral. This
isn't good. I was starting to shake, I was starting to chatter, and I don't kick my legs, but I was certainly kicked my leg for the last 2 hours to generate heat to keep myself going.
Yeah.
I did ask, I think it was the last feed, is there any honey left? I wanted hot water and honey. And I got that, and I was like, right, now you just have to get to the end. Because I could feel myself just getting a little bit slower and,
Yeah.
kind of nearly like a delusional state. But I just kind of kept saying, just keep going forward, just keep going forward. You're not going to give up at this last point. What's been the whole day's work?
Yeah.
You're not going to give up at this. So that kind of was a little bit of a worry for me. But then we were negotiating, we were into Port Patrick. And then it was like, okay, you can swim to those rocks. And I was
Yeah.
like, what rocks are you talking about?
Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
see anything. It's too dark. So I literally was tentatively swimming in. I could see these shadows, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that must be a rock. And then eventually I started hitting rocks, and I was like, okay, climbed up onto it, shouted, hands up in the air. I said, I'm up. I heard the whistle go, and I literally just went, thank Christ that's over.
Yeah.
Got off that rock, so I'm back to the boat. And yeah, I got to the back of the boat, and Barry, the pilot, was ready to. And I was like, no, I actually just need to go for a wee.
Yeah.
So did that, climbed up myself, which they were quite surprised that I got up onto the boat myself.
Yeah.
And yeah, then it was done. I've just made it in, and then I realised at the time, I was like, what harbour is that? And they're like, oh, that's Port Patrick. And I was like, oh, I actually got in. So there is like only 6 swimmers that weekend got into Port Patrick.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the highlight of it if you can get in, even though like you can touch, the rocks, there's no problem. But yeah, it was my goal and my visualization that I wanted to hit Port Patrick. So I did that. And then it's about an hour and 20 minutes back to Bangor on the boat.
Yeah.
And then a couple of friends had made the journey up. So I was really grateful to see them. I was celebrating drink. And then that night, because I had a quick shower when I got back, because I'd been stung by jellyfish. So
How'd you?
the lion's manes had got me. I got hit by 6 jellyfish.
6 jellyfish?
Well, that's the ones I remember anyway. One was quite early on, hit me around the chest, up and around my chin. Then one slid down the back of my leg, across my ankles, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I did go into one with my hand, forearm and stuff. So that night when I got out of bed, I had a shower. So the best treatment for the lion's mane is hot shower as hot as you can. So I got into the shower, got out, got into bed, and my shoulders were sore anyway. But that's when the pain and all that started. So my shoulders just completely were wrecked. So I could hardly nearly turn myself in the bed. But then the toxins from the jellyfish starts coming out, and I was hot, I was cold, I was shaking in the bed, I was sweating, and at 4 a.m. I got up.
What was your thought process then? Like, were you like,
pain.
so were you like elated that you finished it, or were you kind of like, what did you do?
But now you're kind of going, oh God, this pain, just let it go.
Yeah.
But then I got up and I got back in the shower. I got back into bed, took some pain relief, and then conked out for about 2 hours.
Yeah.
So then the next day, and for 2 days, I felt as if I'd had, it's like a no right to explain, it's like a hangover, but with no alcohol. Just feel like you've just been.
It's an energy hangover.
Yeah,
so like we only spoke about that with one of our coaches, Paul, and he did a 3-day summit. And he was speaking at this 3-day summit, and he says the Monday he felt like he'd been on the beer for like days because and he goes, you can't go that high with energy and then the next day be like, yeah, we're good to go. Like there is an actual
drop,
an emotional hangover from doing something so intense for so long, and then there's things. All that stuff. So, like, and you said like it took 2 days. We'll get back to that because we were talking about obviously the worst part of the swim. What was your favorite part of the actual swim itself? Like during the swim, not like the finishing or the excitement at the finishing or the start, but like the actual.
I think it's just the favorite part is just swimming away, enjoying your swim, nice kind of stroke, and you're breathing, you're just looking at the boat, kind of just like that's what I enjoy. It's just tipping along, and there was moments of that when you're just like, I'm really enjoying this. Yeah, okay.
Cool.
Oh, there's no jellyfish. Better watch out. You know. Um, and yeah, then reading towards the boat, and my dad was there. And then I kind of was like, oh crap, maybe I made the wrong decision to put him on the boat
Mm.
because I thought it's quite emotional for him to be looking at me putting myself through this,
Yeah.
even though it's my own choice. And I did say to
But
him after,
it's your dad.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But I kind of said to him, you probably wanted to take me out. And he said, yeah, I did want to take you
Mm.
out. He said, but yeah, you just kept going. He said, and that was more, I think, powerful to see that I was just able to keep going and going and
Yeah.
going. Um, and I think he was quite emotional on the boat as well. Just kind of, that's my daughter,
Yeah.
in there. So it was really nice to have him there and be part of it. And I know my mum was on the shore and stuff, and and knowing that she was there watching it kind of unfold and the WhatsApp group going,
Yeah.
and
That was brilliant, by the way.
yeah,
Lisa was brilliant.
yeah,
Like she
yeah,
kept
she
everyone up
did.
to date.
It
Yeah.
took me like 45 minutes to read all those.
Oh yeah, I'd say so because I was like,
And yeah, that was motivating as well to know that everybody, the support was all
yeah,
there. And both my brothers are in Australia, so they then had to pick it up.
yeah,
Even I think she also the end of the week. And yeah, it's hard when they're that far away. But yeah, they're still thinking of you and
oh yeah,
supporting you.
yeah.
That kind of So that was really good.
And the fact that you
Um,
have like the likes of WhatsApp and all that now, it's
yeah,
like they can see it in real time.
yeah.
So that's pretty
Yeah,
cool
it was
too.
just unfortunate the tracker was stopping.
Yeah,
That's just an issue for Infinity to figure out. But that does keep everybody on tender hooks. They're like, "Where is she? What's she
yeah,
doing?" Um, so yeah, I think it was just because I enjoy swimming so much. I'm not a super fast swimmer,
yeah.
so I just get in and I have that same pace, and but it works for me, and I'm able to just motor on. Yeah.
But that's like so. Like there's so much to unpack on that. Like if you to kind of like you could talk about this for days, just the ins and outs. But one of the things is like, and I know like for me, this is what happens to me, and I don't know whether it's just me. Um, it's as soon as I finish a task, whether it was an ultra or the all heart challenge or that Glendale Lock fiasco, within 5-10 minutes, it's kind of like, and everyone's elated and all that, and you're kind of like, stunning. What's next? Did you get to enjoy like what you've done, or would you be in the kind of mindset of like it's done now, I have to get back into something?
I think I was so in the zone of trying to get all the training done that for the whole year and a half that I was training for it, and I probably, kept it to myself, and there was reasons why, but I still, to this day, probably can't believe that I've done it either. I
Yeah.
just thought,
So kind of
I'm just going to go for a swim, just going to take on this challenge. I've ticked that box, and now that I've come back, I'm kind of going, did I do that? And I do kind of I am kind of a shy person as well. So when people come up and start asking me questions in the middle of the street or,
yeah,
in Tesco's, and you're just like, yeah, thanks, and I really appreciate it. But at the same time, I'm like, oh God,
yeah,
I only went and done a swim, but it just shows that everybody's really interested in it.
yeah,
And I would hate to think that people are like, Jesus, there she's going on about the swim again. I know when I'm not trying to, it's such a big thing. That I have undertaken and
yeah.
achieved, and I'm delighted to do.
I think there's a kind of a fog or not even a fog. It's a kind of once you finish. Well, again, for me, and it could be for you, but it sounds the thing is when you finish something, it's kind of like, did I do it? Because the only way you really kind of know if you did it, if like if it was 100% recorded and someone put full music over it and made an amazing montage, and they're like, yeah, I did that.
Yeah,
Because because memories are fleeting, and anything that I've done, like sometimes it's just like, oh, well, you did this, and I'll be kind of, yeah, no, I did that, yeah, no, it's done now.
yeah,
Like I'm not doing it. I haven't just finished it.
mm,
I've done it. So I'm kind of now like, where am I going? Like I've like I mean, I do. It's like I will off camera. I told you a really stupid idea. You could join
it's
me for
not
this.
stupid.
You could join me for the swim part. But that kind of I don't. Yeah, I like it's like you said. Like if people, you don't want to be harping on about it.
Mm,
Still, it should be good that you can acknowledge what you did.
Yeah.
One of a select group of people that have done that. Like for me, as someone that's literally what the last 3 years tried to start swimming. And I remember getting my first 500. I remember swimming to the rocks and back. And I was like, yeah, relax. And you're like, yeah, you did really well. And I do this with clients and they do really well. The things they're, and I'll be further down the road with that and my fitness or strength. Um, that elation of like, I can do this. And then it's like, well, look what you're doing and you can do that. And I think what you did, knowing that like 2 years ago, you were like, I don't know, but I signed for something. And
Yeah.
then the few times we spoke was like, not sure, I'm putting in the work, or my coach is like kind of ragging me that I can go faster and I don't know. And all of them to the point of literally to me swimming 34, 34?
Yeah, that's 40K was the total. I
40K
covered. Yeah, yeah.
over 6.5 hours. To me, that's insane.
Mm.
But you did it.
Mm.
And if anything, it's more than likely inspired a ton of people in your community in the Greystones, Wicklow area that hey, maybe you can do something.
And that's, yeah, like, you do have to kind of pull yourself back sometimes and go, okay, I've just done this event, but you don't know who's standing on the sidelines being inspired by it. So when people go, oh, I just did a 500, or, oh, I came last, and I've come last in races as well. And as I always say to everyone, is, yeah, but you going in, there's, I'd say, at least 10 people on the shore or on the start line that are too afraid to step up to try. So just think of those people that you could inspire. So
Exactly.
yeah,
And if you've never tried, you've already failed. If you tried and you had to get pulled out of the water, cool. That's okay.
yeah,
But at least you made the effort. And if you came and a lot of the stuff that I think people should just understand is complete the task. Stop worrying about
yeah, the
hopping.
time, yeah,
No, you don't go to the Berlin. No one at the Berlin Marathon, the average Joe, wasn't worried about Chikogi. Oh man, he's here. Oh man, no one was thinking that. Just like, well, he's going to clearly win. I'm going to do it for me and try and beat my time. Yeah, obviously, if there's someone slightly ahead of you, you push a little bit.
yeah,
But completion of the task is always the goal. When I set out to do something for the first time, if I'm going to repeat it, yes, I want to get faster at it, or I want to do it slightly better. But I think for a lot of people out there, it's like if you've never swam before, you thought about swimming, just get into water.
Yeah.
And one of the things I think, and people don't know, but I know, and I've said it to you, I want to talk about this, is you're running. Now, Corinna's already mentioned she's ran 2 marathons,
yeah,
completed 2 Ironmans,
yeah,
plus obviously a bunch of half Ironmans, and
yeah, 2 halves, 2 fulls, and 2 solo marathons. Yeah.
yeah.
That's what
So
I run.
I remember coaching Corinna for just general fitness. Running was not your forte. No. And I think it was a minute. I think we ran the way we did it was a minute running, 2-minute walk.
Yeah.
And I remember your first completion of a 20-minute run. And you were like, I was chuffed for you.
Yeah.
I was ecstatic for you. And you were ecstatic. I was like, see, I had a minute. Now take that. You don't run. If you're listening to this and you don't run or you don't swim, but you could probably run 30 seconds or a minute. I'm sitting across from a woman that couldn't run for more than a minute, who was going to half Ironmans, half marathons, swimming across from one country to the next, the colder end. And it was all just try it step by step, just doing it for you, completion of the task, getting the training in, being consistent. But starting off not going, hey, I want to do this, I want to swim 10K, but you've never been in the ocean, that type of thing. And I think that is not inspirational, it's motivating for anyone that would even consider trying something, because you literally, like for obviously you were a swimmer, so you were good at swimming, and you weren't good when you first started. Obviously, no one was ever good.
Yeah.
And then you get into it and you become this amazing swimmer who can just swim, and you love swimming. Then you've also taken on challenges that you were really bad at. And then you develop that and you worked at it to the point where then you can do what most people will never ever attempt. Like I know loads of people that would never attempt a half marathon or a marathon because it couldn't be arsed, or I would never be fit enough. I was like, but they could probably do 5Ks, but I'll never do more than a 5K. I was like, well, if you can run more than a minute, I know it's possible for you to run a marathon.
Yeah.
So that type of side of your story, I think a lot of people will kind of, I think people should know more about that because you you set your task, you set your mind to a task,
Mm.
and no matter how uncomfortable it made you feel, you still did it. So and then the growth out of that, the learning that you got out of all of that stuff is
Mm.
huge because I think it builds character every time you complete one of those challenges. But then you kept moving on.
Yeah. It's
Like,
like when we did the swimming on the beach, I remember, I think it was the first time we swam the full length, and I just said, just swim to the lifeguard hut.
mm,
When you get there, it's just to the rocks. And I suppose that's part as well. I just kind of keep adding these little notches on, and
that's
that's,
you know what? That's exactly it. Like
you'll get,
every time we train, it's just that little bit more.
mm,
And then, like you say, when we're swimming, just once you swim here, and
yeah,
we'll swim to there, and
mm,
then you're swimming a little bit further every time. That is exactly what it is.
yeah,
The next, if you're running, it's the next lamppost or
yeah,
lightpost, or
yeah,
and to me, and that's why I asked you to be in the show because I think your story not only like the channel was amazing feat of
mm,
just like, but then everything to get there, and then the stuff you've done in your plans, huge,
mm,
like and awe-inspiring because there's people out there that need to hear these stories because they go, "Oh, I don't think I'm good enough." I'm like, "Yeah, you are. Like, you just got to start. It doesn't have to be loads. It just has to be something, and it's not going to be tomorrow or in 6 weeks." But this time next year, you could be running your first 5, 10K, or you could be swimming your first 2, 3K.
yeah,
And you could be entering a race or doing a gale force, or you could be lifting weights in the gym, or doing something that you've always wanted to do, but you're always afraid to go
mm,
after it. And I think for you, you've gone after things that probably scared you
yeah,
a lot.
definitely,
Um, so back to the swim, you had a deadly crew.
yeah, yeah,
So I know your dad was one of them,
yeah.
and
Lisa,
Lisa,
Lisa's
who was
little.
great on WhatsApp, by the way. Lisa, you should have your own little social
We should get
media.
her in here to do
Yeah,
a
yeah.
podcast. Yeah.
Lisa, you're more than welcome. Um, but you had a good crew. So to you, how important was your support crew? Like, what did that mean to you?
Just know that you have the backing, like, and everybody's there in positivity for you, and that's huge. Like, and then I'm hiding it for so many months as well, and not telling people. Like, there was reasons for it because you go to the and people, please don't take this the wrong way, but like, you go to the beach and you just want to get in, you want to get your session done,
Mm,
you want to get out, and you want to go. But if you're being stopped numerous times on the way down or in the pool and stuff, that eats into your time.
yeah,
So you're trying to juggle it.
yeah.
Um,
That's
but
why I go super
knowing,
early.
yeah, yeah. But then, like, when I've seen the outpour of messages and the congratulations, and it just shows a community comes together. It might be deadline. That's like, it might be a solo North Channel swim, but it's definitely not a solo. It's, you have to
Yeah,
have that crew around you. You have to have that support and all of that. Messages and good looks and words of advice and stuff. It all means a lot,
yeah.
and was definitely taken on board. Like,
Brilliant.
I
But
think, like I still can't kind of get over that I've done it. But then when you put the stats down, like, I'm the 139th person to swim the North Channel, the 55th female. And of course, then I have to go and Google and check the records. So I'm the seventh Irish female.
mm,
So when I seen that, I kind of went, yeah, that's something to be
it's a
proud of
huge
now.
achievement. It's a massive
Yeah, yeah,
achievement. Like, I, like that to me, that's huge.
mm,
Like just like seventh female in England to ever do that swim.
yeah,
That's pretty. You're still like you're single digits athletes. Like
yeah.
that's crazy. So what's next?
Well, there's a thing called the Triple Crown
Okay.
of Ireland. So the North Channel,
Yeah.
Fastnet Lighthouse. So you either swim to Fastnet or you swim from Fastnet back into Baltimore, which is 20K swim. I did actually have a slot for that this year, but I couldn't fund it all,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I
Fair enough.
had to let it go. And then Galway Bay is a 13K swim. So once I have those three, then I'll be quite content that it's the Irish Triple Crown.
Okay.
No desire to finish the Seven Oceans, which the North Channel is part of.
Yeah.
No desire to go and do the English Channel. That's what everyone keeps asking. Are you going to do the English Channel? No. No. There's a couple of swims that would, impress me around the world in Ireland and stuff. And yeah, if I make it, I can try and challenge those.
I think
But
if you,
definitely the Triple Crown is next year's goal.
oh, that's
But yeah, I'm saying to other people that I do have a habit of doing things twice.
yeah.
Done two marathons, 2 Ironmans, 2 halves, 2 ice miles. There's not a chance I'm going back to do that North Challenge. I have it. I don't
Yeah,
do it.
you don't need to repeat it. No, that's good.
Yeah.
So also, if anyone wants to kind of follow your journey, I know you post about seas and sea safety and
Yeah.
swimming and swimming lessons and all that. What is your Instagram?
Swim Coach Core, COR.
We'll
on
put it in.
Instagram.
We'll put it in the show notes as well. So
Yeah.
if you want to check out Corinna's social media, she'd love a follow. Yeah, if you have any, I suppose, questions on swimming, she has a lot of stuff on her page that you can obviously to help you out. She's helped me out as a swim coach to get from not swimming anything to swimming 2K, which is good. And then she convinced me to do Glendalough, which I tried to back out 2 days before. I said I should drop down. You went, no, don't. I was like, okay. First you in the water.
I'm
I was
sure
like,
you did.
Corinna knows. But yeah, so Corinna, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for
This is one of my this is just someone that I know that's done an amazing thing, an amazing achievement. So my hat is off to you.
Thank you,
madam. And we will, guys, if you would like to obviously follow the show, we love the support. I love having guests on. And if you like it, give us a thumbs up, a good comment. If you've ever done a crazy challenge or you think do a crazy challenge, post it in the comments. If you think I should do another crazy challenge, post in the comments. I have a bunch already set. So we'll add that to the list. I'll add to the list once I'm not injured. And we will see you all on the next one. The big thing I say is you got to win the morning.
Heavy requirements on them to lift heavy weights.
The conversation has to be changed.
What you truly value.
No right way and there's no wrong way.
Become the source of struggle.
I kept finding myself in tears from the physical pain.
You're listening to the Stephen Kinsler Podcast.